They're armed. They'll come and kidnap you, and they'll sell you for $70 to $150, and then others will resell you.
As soon as you arrive in Libya, the first thing that happens is that you are taken away and sold. Like an animal, I was sold 4 times in open markets in Libya. The last time I was sold for $10,000. I was tortured every day.
The worldwide hub for the slave trade all over the Pacific Ocean, starting 700 years before any blacks were sold by whites, was Somalia. And the light-skinned
Rainbow Rat?
Arabs there did not allow their people to marry anyone from Kenya or the surrounding areas. They got slaves from as far away as Nigeria.
Ero colto più di loro di alcuni, però a causa della mia razza o della mia tribù che era considerata inferiore, ero discriminato e considerato schiavo, mi portava a non amare più di stare lì, costretto a andare, perché loro insomma ogni momento dicevano che io ero un tanzaniano. Un tanzaniano.
What we're finding is that Libya is now a broken economy without any rule. It's got a very small population, 6 million people, and the size of Libya is twice the size of France. So it's a small population, and they seem to be essentially living off the migrant trade, from migrants being passed from one to another, being exploited as laborers who don't get paid, or simply being abused in different ways and being sold on for profit. So it's kind of a shocking situation. And it's very difficult to know what can be done about it because the country is in such chaos, and as we know, ISIS are there. There are different militias. There's no central government of any name.
Now, this is currently going on. Ilhan Omar is an Arab, and it talks about she is a god. You look up her name; it's one of the dominant families in Somalia that is known as royalty, basically, and known as rulers of humans or rulers of slaves. Piracy, kidnapping, black slavery, white slavery. She's a god. And she comes to rule you, and you will bow. You will hit that damn knee. All right, ladies and gentlemen, they have caught deep state spies inside the White House stealing national security information. Things are about to explode. As I told you 2.5 years ago, the White House was chock full, absolutely crammed to the gills with deep state operatives, both from the neocon and the leftist globalist wings. They were spying on President Trump the entire time and leaking twisted information. They would take anything and everything Trump did and then leak the classified info, but mix lies into it as well, trying to derail the country. They engaged in shadow diplomacy where they would know what the president's moves were going to be. That would be given to Barack Obama, to John Kerry, to Hillary Clinton, and others. Well, several of those spies have been discovered. A lot more of those spies are going to be discovered, and these documents are being released to Congress. This should be the top story in the nation. But of course, if you're not on Infowars.com or DrudgeReport.com or TheGatewayPundit.com, you're not going to hear anything about it. But the headline on Infowars.com is Deep State Spies Caught Stealing National Security Information from the White House. It's all completely illegal. It's like Sandy Berger snuck into the bubble in the Capitol and went in and got classified information that exposed Bill Clinton and put it in his socks and got caught because he wanted it out of there. There was only one copy. He was afraid someone would read it. Well, he barely even served any time for that, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the type of things they're up to, and it's cut and dry illegal. And the word is 3 different federal grand juries are hearing the evidence for indictment, and the word is the indictments are going to be handed down.
Well, I just did
James Comey, of course, gave the order illegally, and nothing criminal was found. But the act of stealing the classified data and the act of putting a spy in the White House totally violates the separation of powers. It shows a rogue agency. I'm going to be covering this at the bottom of the hour in detail with the documents, the names, the facts. We've got them all right here. We're going to go over those. And I'm also waiting on a phone call that I'm going to be taking during the next break with more information on this, because I was told about this not just 2.5 years ago. Obviously, we would be breaking that down. We have some good sources that are going to tell us exactly who the other indictments are going to be of, reportedly. So this is a big, big, big deal. We'll be looking at all of it coming up at the bottom of the hour in about 20 minutes from now. Here's what else we've got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. AOC, U.S. must have lifelong commitment to migrant children, health care services for life. That's right, you heard that right. She says they're victims of concentration camps. They're made to drink out of toilets. They've been so abused that they need free services and psychological services for life, she told the London Guardian. Now, you've seen hundreds of lawsuits filed, all asking for $3 million if children were separated for even an hour from their parents while it was verified who they were with, or if the living conditions weren't the Ritz-Carlton, supposedly, $3 million a piece of taxpayer money. You see, when you come here to get free stuff and you bring your kids across dangerous deserts and pay smugglers to do it, and a lot of them aren't their parents, they use them to mule drugs across, how do you turn that around when you're a criminal group engaging in crime and sucking off people and endangering your children? Many times not even your children. Well, you turn around and say, concentration camps, and we deserve more free stuff for the rest of our lives. Well, Tlaib, we'll play a clip in a moment, the Islamic congresswoman from Detroit, the burnout rubble of that once great city, she's saying that everyone deserves $20 an hour. Even though Bernie Sanders had to lay off a lot of his employees or a lot of his campaign people, or cut them from 60 hours to 43 hours because they demanded to go from $13 an hour to $15 an hour. But Sanders was paying them time and a half, and so they had to get the extra 20 hours cut, because time and a half for 13 is obviously a lot of money. The time and a half for 15 is even more. So he's learning about economics. He's never run a business. He's swindled colleges and has $3 million plus homes and drives $118,000 cars. I actually looked it up. $118,000 car. I've never had a $100,000 car. I mean, this is just all going on here, but he's going to tell you that you've got to hire people for $15 an hour. Now, in New York, pretty much need that. Not in South Texas. The owner of the little hot dog shack doesn't make $15 an hour. So it's just insane. So here's Tlaib offering more free stuff: free housing, free transportation, free education, free health care, free, and now $20. Here it is.
$2.13, and the ticket place paid $2.13 per hour federally. Some state court here in Michigan is over $3.50 or so. But think about that for 1 minute. And people cannot live on those kinds of wages. And I can't allow people to be living off of tips and relying on tips wages. It's just not, or whatever they call it, tips income. It's just not enough to support our families. But I also want to always tell a story because...
Okay, I can't listen anymore to this. You heard her say $20, which again, when you add in all the taxes and the regulations and the Social Security, somebody being paid $20 an hour is being paid like $26, $27 an hour. Nobody can pay that in your average retail shop or wherever. A lot of times, little retail shops aren't selling but a couple $100 of things an hour. How do you pay for the lights, the regulations, the insurance, the rent, or the property taxes, and the employees? It's insane. The New York Times says we need a $33 an hour. You know what inflation will do if they did that too? Again, this would sink the economy. You know what the average wage in China is, right? It's $2 an hour. How are we going to compete with Mexico that's got less than $2 an hour being the average wage? Well, the answer is you're not going to do it. And the country is going to go belly up, which is the Democrats' plan. Cloward and Piven is to wreck the economy to be able to completely and totally, absolutely take it over. We're going to go to break, and I'm going to come back and get more into this. But the idea that you get here and you're entitled to free stuff for life because you're a victim, it's like slave reparations. But then meanwhile, Ilhan Omar comes from the upper caste elite tribe of Somalis. Its specialty is slavery to this day, but only of subhuman blacks. They have a name for it. We just played the first segment, if you missed it, documentaries with black Africans from Kenya, who, by the way, on average have higher IQs than Somalis. I looked it up, and are stronger and everything else. But of course they're saying they're subhuman, when if you look at all the African tribes, the Kenyans are pretty noble folks, definitely compared to the Somalis. So it's just amazing inversion of reality, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute inversion of reality. So that's all coming up today and so much more. Please do not forget, we got DNA Force Plus back in stock. It is the strongest PQQ, CoQ10, resveratrol, just all of the things that are award-winning, all the things that are seen as the very best out there. It's in there. ELV ATP, that's the ingredient of the year of the Nutrient Ingredients Awards Conference, increases cellular energy levels, improves athletic performance. CoQ10, PQQ, and it just goes on and on. Astragalus, reishi mushroom, R-alpha lipoic acid, rhodiola. I mean, I just can't go over all this, folks. Transresveratrol, cordyceps, sinensis. It's the best of the best for your cells, for your body, for your brain. It's DNA Force Plus, 50% off at InfoWarsStore.com.
And people are being concentrated. This is very simple. I don't even know why this is a controversial thing for her to say. We have to really truthfully speak about what's taking place. And this is why it's really important for us to abolish ICE and make sure that we have an agency that is accountable to the people, that is dealing with the situation in a humane way. There's no way that we can allow for kids to be caged in this country, and children to be separated from their families, and people being terrorized in their communities.
Is it fair to
we have to make sure that we are calling it out, and I am 100% with Alan.
The United States is running concentration camps on our southern border, and that is exactly what they are. They are concentration camps. And if that doesn't bother you, we can have, okay, whatever. I want to talk to the people that are concerned enough with humanity to say that we should not, that never again means something. And that the fact that concentration camps are now an institutionalized practice in the home of the free is extraordinarily disturbing. And we need to do something about it. This week, immigrant children were moved to the same internment camps where the Japanese were held in the earlier 20th century. And this is not even about a crisis this is not just about the immigrant communities being held in concentration camps being a crisis. This is a crisis for ourselves. This is a crisis on if America will remain America in its actual principles and values, or if we are losing to an authoritarian and fascist presidency. And so I think that is, I don't use those words lightly. I don't use those words to just throw bombs. I use that word because that is what an administration that creates concentration camps is. A presidency that creates concentration camps is fascist. And it's very difficult to say that this is what organizing looks like.
Right.
This is what building power looks like. This is what changing the country looks like. It's when we choose to show up and occupy the room and talk about the things that matter most, talking about our future. You know, Reverend, you bring up a funny anecdote, and I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy.
Hey guys, did you hear the news? Guardians of the Galaxy is canceled because the lead actor Chris Pratt wore a really insensitive shirt. Now I have to warn you before I show it to you that viewer discretion is advised. Are you ready? Okay, that was scary. So last week, Guardians of the Galaxy star Chris Pratt was walking around town with his wife, being normal human beings, when a crazed paparazzi decided to take a photo of the two of them. And somehow, for some reason I can't comprehend, this photo of him holding a water bottle in one hand and his wife in the other turned into one of the biggest stories of the week on the internet. Why? Well, let's look closer. Look at that shirt. That's right. It was his shirt of all things that caused a huge controversy online and sent leftists into a panic. A t-shirt of an American flag with the words "Don't tread on me," which, by the way, you can get right now at InfoWarsStore.com for only $17.76. This t-shirt made liberals all over Twitter call him the forbidden R word. It even led to Yahoo News publishing a full-blown hit piece on Pratt and accused him of wearing a white super sauce shirt. We have to say super sauce so the YouTube gods don't come after us. Just look at this headline. Chris Pratt criticized for white super sauce t-shirt. This article was so bad that they had to change the headline to Chris Pratt criticized for t-shirt choice. In fact, they even included an update at the top of the article that says, this article was updated on 17 July with the initial headline, Chris Pratt criticized for white super sauce t-shirt, being amended to Chris Pratt criticized for t-shirt choice. References to white super sauce in this article have been removed. But that didn't stop Yahoo from publishing another article that same day. Chris Pratt is in hot water for this controversial t-shirt, and the internet has thoughts. This article, by the way, has plenty of references to white super sauce. The article reads, the coiled rattlesnake with the "Don't tread on me" message is the iconography associated with the Gadsden flag, created by Continental Army Brigadier General Christopher Gadsden. While the flag's original purpose wasn't rooted in white super sauce, it has been adopted by some white super sauces in the far-right groups in recent years. In some of these instances, swaffles, we'll go with that, have been added to the design. Who adds a swaffle to a... So when Pratt was spotted wearing a shirt with the Gadsden design, some people quickly drew a parallel between Pratt's wardrobe choice and the less positive...
Okay, here's what's going on. I'm going to be back live next hour. I'm working on a big story right here, and I've got to make some phone calls, and this is some big stuff about the latest attempted coup against the president and against the country. And then Lord Monckton's going to be joining us as well with big new developments exposing the fact that they know man-made global warming and climate change is a fraud. Of course, we already know that, but a bunch of major studies, a bunch of big admissions, that's going to be coming up as well today. But I don't normally air something over and over and over again, but I've aired this already 3 times. I'm going to air it again. It's Professor Robert Epstein, who's a psychologist, runs big computer science programs, works with DARPA, you name it. He testified, as you know, last week that Google's already stealing the election along with Facebook, and if it doesn't get stopped, we will see the election stolen in 2020. So this is a paramount issue. And then next hour, I am going to start the hour off getting into the espionage and the spies caught inside the White House and really how deep all of that goes. So we'll be back. I'll be back live next hour with all of that information. And we're going to be breaking it all down. It's very, very important, so please stay with us.
Google's manipulation of votes gave at least 2.6 million additional votes to Hillary Clinton in the year 2016. Is that correct?
2.6 million is a rock bottom minimum. The range is between 2.6 and 10.4 million votes, depending on how aggressive they were in using the techniques that I've been studying. They control these, and no one can counteract them. These are not competitive. These are tools that they have at their disposal exclusively.
Your testimony is that Google is, through bias in search results, manipulating voters in a way they're not aware of.
On a massive scale, in 2020, if all these companies are supporting the same candidate, there are 15 million votes on the line that can be shifted without people's knowledge and without leaving a paper trail for authorities to trace. Without monitoring systems in place, we'll never know what these companies are doing. And in 2020, you can bet that all of these companies are going to go all out. And the methods that they're using are invisible, they're subliminal, they're more powerful than most any effects I've ever seen in the behavioral sciences, and I've been in the behavioral sciences for almost 40 years.
A handful of Silicon Valley billionaires and giant corporations are able to spend millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars collectively, massively influencing the results of elections.
Senator, with respect, I must correct you.
Please.
If Mark Zuckerberg chooses to send out a go vote reminder just to Democrats on election day, that doesn't cost him a dime.
Google is developing an app to screen out content that the Chinese government considers too sensitive for its citizens. Translation: Google is helping China silence its political opposition.
China's chilling dictatorship is moving quickly to introduce social scorecards in which all citizens will be monitored 24/7 and ranked on their behavior.
A high rating means you get benefits like no deposit of renting house or skipping airport security, but a low scores means you can't rent a car or apply for visas. The Chinese government expects to make this system mandatory in 2020.
Google is planning to launch a censored version of its search engine in China.
The Chinese government, as people probably know, has a quite comprehensive internet censorship system set up, and it's known as the Great Firewall. It blocks all kinds of information about, political opponents of the ruling Communist Party regime there. All kinds of things that they're blocking out.
Companies agreed to ban particular sites or search times on topics like human rights, democracy, and free speech.
Google's really the CIA, but it's leftist run now, so it's run over to China, and it's a civil war inside the intelligence agencies.
These are serious people plotting to finagle the searches, which is what Google sells to us as being fair and unbiased.
Google alone could determine the outcome of almost any American election just by altering its search suggestions. We never know what happened.
Well, Google is being accused of hiding negative stories about Hillary and her campaign, but changing its algorithm to bury stories like the Clinton body count story. That's according to website InfoWars.
So Google won't work with the Pentagon on artificial intelligence, but it's officially moved its main operations for AI to China and is merging with the Chinese government, letting them have all the technology.
So they're working on behalf of the fascist Chinese government, sending propaganda to its people to keep them under the control of the government. But we shouldn't worry about the fact that they have a chokehold on all human information in English. Not a big deal.
I mean, that's a lot you just said there, but we should be worried.
It's all true.
So Google always swears that its liberal, anti-Trump views of the top people doesn't affect the search product. But here is documented proof of some Google executives wanting to tamper with searches as a form of political activism.
The Chinese government, let's remember, imprisons dissidents and Christians daily. They have more than 1 million Muslims in re-education camps. But the legitimate election of President Trump somehow conflicts with Google's vaunted values? Give me a break.
Google was working to get Hillary Clinton elected.
If a Google user types in Clinton body, they get car repair shop results instead of a story that talks about a list of people tied to the Clintons who have died under mysterious circumstances over the last 3 decades.
A new bombshell development reveals Hillary Clinton's leaked emails were likely responsible for the deaths of up to 20 CIA agents working in China.
Over a dozen CIA agents may have been killed as a result of Hillary Clinton's leaked emails.
The real election meddling is by Facebook and Google and others that are shadow banning people, that are outright banning people, and they're blocking conservatives involved in their own First Amendment political speech. Shame on the mainstream corporate media for not defending the First Amendment, but instead attack dogging, calling for federal regulators to shut down independent, free press, working with big tech.
You're not allowed to get the InfoWars official app on your iPhone. You're not allowed to watch the Alex Jones Show on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. But if you're the Chinese government and you want access to every citizen and all their data and everything they've ever done on an Apple product, good to go, baby. Good to go. And the left in America loves it.
We're going to move to the east, to the Horn of Africa and Somalia, the most dangerous, backward, evil country in the world. And you know why Somalia is so bad? Because African countries all around it have driven the Arab slavers in the last 1,000 years, the Muslim slavers, into the Horn of Africa, where it was the center of the slave trade of Africans all over the world. Once the Roman Empire fell, white slaves were the main slave group. Africans that were rich had white slaves, which is because that's who was trained and where they got slaves, was Gaul, that's France today. Germania, which is Austria and Germany. The British and others, who they called Gaelic, out of the UK today. Old Albion, England. But after the fall of the Roman Empire, the Western Empire, then the fall of the Eastern Empire, Constantinople, when the Islamists took it, civilization collapsed in Western Europe, and there wasn't any good slaves being brought in anymore. And so the Muslims started enslaving Africans over 1,000 years ago. And that's why Ilhan Omar doesn't look African. She's an elite Somali. The upper class Somalis are light-skinned. They are Muslims. They are slave traffickers. They sell black slaves today. Four countries that still allow slavery. It's still customary in several Arab countries to have black house slaves. That's the truth, folks. But they don't want you to know. I bet you a lot of money she comes from slavers. And you're literally looking at someone that comes from the hub of 1,000 years of black slavery. Ilhan Omar, guaranteed in her lineage, is pure slaver. They ship slaves out of Somalia all the way to Indonesia. And then as you project out towards the east, to the far east, you will see all the islands and countries they've taken over in the last 1,000 years since Islam 1,400 years ago went expansionist. I hope all the viewers and listeners understand something. But I think you do. You've got discernment. I don't have a filter. What you see on air is who I am. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm super pissed at myself. I'm angry at what I've done the last year or so. Because, well, let me just explain it. When I take the supplements that we sell that are the highest quality, best research, that are all the missing links of nutrition that the globalists have by design imposed on us so that we are deficient, so that we are dumbed down, so that we are weak, so that we are lethargic. And I myself preach that we should be healthy and prepared, and that I don't do it. I'm not as healthy. People notice that. And then I'm not promoting it as much. Instead, I'm just saying, support us, get the products. That's how we fund our operation. That's secondary. If I'm bringing you the best products like DNA Force Plus, I'm about to break down, then it's going to work great for you, and you're going to want to reorder it, which is a 360 win, a symbiotic relationship, a non-zero-sum game. And I know the problems. I've talked about it before. Almost 8 years ago, I was 80 plus pounds overweight. I was exercising every day, but all the chemicals in the environment, I couldn't lose the weight. I went on X2. I went on the first key products that we promoted that we knew were the best out there, and the weight just poured off. But then over the years, I get busy. I'm working hard. I run out of the vitamins and the minerals. I don't have an auto ship set up. And then I'm lethargic. I'm not working out. The same thing happens again, especially as you get older. So about 3 weeks ago, I religiously began to take X2 every morning. I religiously began to take fish oil every morning. I religiously began at lunch to take my DNA Force Plus that's so critical. And I've already lost 7 pounds as of yesterday. I didn't weigh today, and my workouts are explosive compared to where they were. I'm doing 3 times the sets. I'm working out for an hour and a half. The sweat's pouring off. I'm feeling great. I feel like I'm 20 again. But so I'm committing this time. I'm committing. In fact, I'm going to walk around the room. You guys bring the mic in here, please. Folks, I'm telling you, this doesn't just fund the operation, which is a win-win by itself. This literally empowers patriots' bodies and helps us with the tools God gave us. And the evidence, the science is all there. Thank you, Scott. Is it on? Thank you. Before we went on today, I told the crew, please get my mobile mic ready. And I'm going to tell you right now why I did that. I've done live shows before where I just wore a pair of sunglasses. And back when we were on YouTube, we get like 3 times more views. I wore sunglasses or a cowboy hat because it's out of the ordinary. People ask themselves, what's different about this? So today I decided to get the mic here and stand up because I want to note to everybody, this is special. This is important. I'm 45 years old. When I was 35, I swam to 2 miles a day sometimes and would jog and couldn't lose weight because I didn't have the missing links. I was deficient in things that nobody ever told me I was deficient in. I knew all about the Private Federal Reserve, the Trilateral Commission, the New World Order, Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile rings. I knew all about geopolitical systems, the old Soviet Union, and how the globals with the Chi comes in. But I didn't know about PQQ. I didn't know about CoQ10. I didn't know about all this. And I didn't know about clean iodine. And yeah, I want to fund my operation. I want you to get products that have changed my life and changed so many other people's lives that have 98% reviews. And then experience that I'm not BSing you. So that for some of you, maybe in the first time in your life, you're going to experience somebody that treats you like they want to be treated. Let me tell you something right now. See DNA Force? I went out to top manufacturers, the most respected, most highly tested. And I said, I want the strongest PQQ, CoQ10 overall formula that has pure, non-synthetic stuff in it that's ever been put on the market. And they said, well, that's like a $22 each bottle. I said, I want to put $50 a bottle in. They said, nobody's ever done that. Then I signed a contract to double the amount I was going to buy. I got it down to $37 a bottle for what it cost me to make this. Nobody does that. Ladies and gentlemen, you read what's in this and you research every ingredient in this and then you experience it for yourself. It's incredible. There's nothing like what God gave us to Mother Nature. There's nothing as strong. And you look at all the things that are in this. L-ATP, the #1 ingredient in 2008, winning all the awards for increased cellular energy levels and improves athletic performance. CoQ10, we have the best form of it. The ingredient was popularized and studied by Dr. Peter Mitchell and won the Nobel Prize for CoQ10. This is a Nobel Prize-winning ingredient. PQQ, we got the best form of that. This ingredient has won multiple awards, including Ingredient with Best Science. There are over 1,000 published studies on PQQ health benefits. You might want to go read them. They make your telomeres last longer. That's the DNA. They literally rejuvenate the cells and the engines in them. And again, I get in the habit of getting so busy, I forget to eat breakfast most mornings. I almost didn't eat lunch today. They're like, hey, you're being a jerk, eat lunch. I was better after that. You take the X2, you take the X3, you take the body's turmeric, you take the DNA Force, because this is the next level. You get a great response from it, and you fund the Second American Revolution worldwide. But I want to be clear, whether it's X2 or whether it's DNA Force Plus,
get in the room.
This stuff isn't a game. I chopped my finger off 15 years ago, helping people on the lake whose boat was on fire. Old Kevin Booth was there. It's a long story short, it was quite a fiasco. The finger was still numb until I took the original DNA Force 5 years ago. Feeling came back in it. You can actually say, because it's patented, that it regrows nerves. Now that doesn't mean if you've broken your back and you're paralyzed, it's going to, reconnect those giant nerves. But I had old back pains and things and old areas that were numb from football injuries where the nerves were so dead I had no feeling. The back pain came back, and then the back pain went away. So what I'm saying is, it's not all just roses to have your nerves come back. You need to know PQQ, CoQ10, and the other ingredients in this aren't child's play. This is stuff God gave us. It's powerful. So consult your physician before you take it, because it can interact with something else you're involved in. Because we're not selling placebos. We're not selling snake oil. We're selling the most powerful nutraceuticals on the market, because I want to be that guy that puts out the best fish oil. I want to be the guy that puts out the best iodine. I want to be the guy that puts out the best turmeric concentrate. I want to be the guy that when you order the products we sell, you go, man, this info is not just good. His products are amazing, because I want a relationship with you, and I want to have a better world with you, and I want to dominate the globalists, and I want you to be healthy, because that's what I want for myself. And we're all connected. And anybody that tells you we're not connected is a Satanist. They may not know they're a Satanist. But Satanism is believing you're alone, and believing that what you do doesn't come back on you. Listen, I'm a total individualist, but we are all collectively tied to each other. I believe in individual freedom, but not at the expense of others. And that's the freedom and the free will God gave us, is to be individuals but collectively connected. Not individuals who don't care about anybody but ourselves. So I want to encourage everybody, learn about the secret history of iodine and the IQ reduction when you don't take it. Learn about PQQ, CoQ10, resveratrol, and all the other things. I mean, there's so many that are in R-alpha lipoic acid, rhodiola, astragalus, reishi, resveratrol. I mean, I just don't have time to go over it all. And they're all the best, the highest quality, and they fund the information war. This bottle could be full of air. It's not. It's full of the highest quality product. And it would still fund a revolution against tyranny. It would still stand up for unborn babies and born babies and our very country's existence. But just like our information is powerful, this product is powerful, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I'm so proud of it. So know this, when you get DNA Force Plus, it takes a few weeks to kick in, just like the iodine, because it changes the entire metabolic system in the body from the research that I've done in my own personal experience. And it's big medicine. It's big mojo. It's big. It's not globalist crap. It delivers. So check it out today. Both products, DNA Force Plus and the high-quality iodine X2 and X3. So that's 3 products. They're all 50% off right now, so you can experience these. All you've already experienced it. You get great results, you forget about it, like I did. Get back on it. A lot of you stay on it. A lot of people haven't tried it yet, and they need to experience it right now. InfoWarsLive.com for the X2, the X3, and of course the DNA Force Plus.